there, guys. Welcome to another project update. This one would be, what month are we in? April. So this would be March project update. So let's go ahead and get into the agenda like we normally do. What I'm going to go over in this particular update is going to be the project update itself, obviously. We've got some new artists that joined on. We'll get into that. And then a very important topic as far as the direction of the project. There have been some things that have come up that need to be addressed, and I wanted to share with you some of the things that we discussed as a team, as a group, the original folks that were on here. So let's go ahead and get into it, right? Project update. So a couple of things have happened. Some folks have slowed down. I shouldn't say slowed down, really. It's just due to the size of the scenes that are being worked on. You're not going to see scenes getting done as quickly as they were before. So, for example, maybe a scene would take about a month or 2 months to get finished, right? So we're now into the final scenes, right? We're working on scene 16. 14 is there's like 2% left on 14, right? I've been working on that darn thing since November with other things in between, right? I kind of keep jumping around. Eventually 18 will get started, and then 11 has already been started. There have been scenes of 11 that have been completed, like half of scene 11.1 and 11.14 in its entirety, 11.9, 11.8, 11.10. So we still have other parts that need to be worked on. The reason those parts haven't been done is because, remember, Jonathan is still texturing Autobot City. So there's going to be less updates happening due to the size of those scenes, right? Right now, for example, actually, we'll get into it a little bit later on. Let's work on what's been completed so far in the month of March. So what was completed was scene 5, which we actually did the animatic. We posted the animatic a while ago. It was a scene with Fowler and the soldier over in Hangar E. That was done in Softimage. So we went ahead and redid it in Blender. So that was completed. Scene 7 was completed, which is basically the scene where the Combaticons crash land on Earth. And we get to see kind of the inside of the mask department, right? And General Bryce is leading that department, right? Agent Fowler was added to scene 8. So scene 8 was completed, minus any parts that had Agent Fowler in it, because at the time we didn't have Fowler completely skinned or enveloped, depending on what term you use. So we went ahead and added him, and that scene is completely ready to go. So 3 scenes got completed during that time frame. Let's talk about what's in progress regarding project updates, right? So as I mentioned, scene 16 is being worked on. It's been divided into 3 sections. So Neil is working the first part of it, so 16A, and Vicky is working 16C. The part that's in between, which is 16B, our buddy Andrew is actually working the destruction of what's going on within that scene. So right now that entire scene is being worked on. It's going to take some time to finish it because it is a relatively large scene, but it's going to be a really cool scene once it gets done. Scene 14, I've been promising you guys since November I'm going to finish it, but as you can see, I completed some other scenes, so not a 100% completed. I have here that I have it 95%, but I actually was talking to Vicky, and there's a section of it that really is not necessary. It doesn't do anything for the story. It's just eye candy, and to be quite frank, we have so much eye candy that I kind of can do without it. So I'm going to move this up from 95% to 98% completed. I should be able to complete it, between this week and next week. And I promise you guys, I am going to complete it this month. So I'm going to take a pause right here, just because we're working on some new characters. And some of the new characters that are being worked on is due to we brought in some new talent. So I'm gonna take a pause right here, and I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna talk about the new artists that we brought onto the team. One of the guys that we brought on, his name's Lewis. I actually worked with him a long time ago, like a decade ago, when we used to work at Bank of America together. He actually graduated. I'm not sure. I would imagine his degree is in animation, but it was from the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, if I'm not mistaken. Real awesome guy, cool family guy. You know, he's got twin boys. I've got twin boys, so just an extra, a real talented artist and an extra pair of hands in this specific area that we need him in, which is visual effects. He's been dabbling around with After Effects, and he really wants to work on some post production things. So he is actually working on all of the items regarding special effects for scene one, and that's going to tie into something else that we'll get into a little bit later on. So he's working on explosion, on laser fire, on some minor destruction, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to take care of the visual aspects of our film, and his first assignment is to prep scene one and get that ready to go, because we are going to start to smooth that scene out. I would say we're going to start that in maybe like around July, hopefully, but we'll see. The next person we brought in is a guy that I went to school with. His name's Danny, and he posted on his Facebook a really cool speed painting clip that he did, where he essentially designed all these first responders in like superhero action poses. It was really cool. I don't know if I can, when I post the video, I don't know if I can tie it in or not. I'll try. But it was a really cool piece of artwork. I reached out to him since obviously he looks like he enjoys doing character design. Wanted to see if he wanted to come on board and help us out with our character design for future characters for the films. Unfortunately, the previous artist that we had, his name was Z. We haven't heard from him in like a year and a half, 2 years. I'm concerned. I've been concerned for a while now for him. He got a little personal with me during, during the characters for the first film, for the current film that we're working on. Shared with me some of the challenges in his life and what he's going through. Guys over in China, obviously there's a lot of things happening over there. He shared with me again some of his life experience over there. I don't know if you guys know this, but half of my family comes from Cuba, so they escaped communism. So there was a lot of things that hit home from the things that he was telling me. So I've always been worried about him. I've always tried to encourage him during our conversations and whatnot, but I've lost touch with him for like over a year and a half now. I've sent him emails. I haven't heard from him. I hope he's okay. But meanwhile, we brought in Danny to kind of fill his shoes, and we know those are some pretty big shoes to fill because Z did a phenomenal job with our character designs. He was our lead character artist, right? So I gave Danny some examples that Z did for us, and Danny's going to obviously try and keep the aesthetics going, but also add in his own flavor as well, right? The other person that we brought in is this guy named James. James has been a professional in the it looks like the music industry. I met with him Nolan last month, at the beginning of last month. So Nolan, as you guys know, is has been working on our sound effects, right? Scores, those types of things, right? And audio modulation, right? So there were some technical difficulties that both he and Ramon were having. So to kind of fill the gap, Nolan, brought in James. I met with him, went over what we've been working on. James is excited to come on board. He's an actual professional at working with sound. So really excited to have him, and have him put his talents to work on this project. So those guys are going to be working on the sound effects, or they're going to continue working on the sound effects. They've already, I met with Nolan. I spoke with him maybe about a couple of days ago. Let him know, hey, listen, we got to get scene one ready to go. And this is going to lead into the next segment, which is what is the direction. There's a change of direction. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to release this film in its entirety and its in completion. And I told you guys at the beginning of this year, if I don't want to go past this year. I really don't. I don't want to go past and not put some content out for you guys. based on what we've been working on, and the animation clips are just not doing it right. So what I want to do is I want to start releasing the film one scene at a time, and we're going to start with scene one. When it's going to be released, it depends on when I finish it, right? However, it's going to be before the end of the year. The sound effects guys are working on as we speak. Visual effects is working on it as we speak. The animatic is done. All I have to do is, or the block animation is done. Now I have to go in there and smooth it out. So I would like to do that starting July. So maybe by July, let's say August, September, maybe I smooth things out as much as possible, and then maybe we release the first scene then, right? The second scene is not as long as the first scene, so it would not take much longer after that. However, we're going to do it little by little. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we definitely want to start giving you the stuff before the year's over. So hopefully that's good and exciting news for you guys. Once we're done, we will obviously compile everything and release it all at once, and we've talked about this as people that have contributed to the project. We've talked about, as a gift, giving you a DVD as a thank you, an additional thank you. So we have talked about that. We haven't made our full decision yet. We're just going one step at a time, taking one day at a time. So that's that. We still have calendars, by the way. That reminds me, calendars. With everything that's going on, the craziness, the virus that's going on, hopefully you guys are staying safe. I had to quarantine myself for almost 3 weeks due to the fact that somebody at my office, the office that I work at, came back positive. And I was there the week that person was there at the office. So I started to feel a dry cough, shortness of breath. I was worried. Initially I thought it was maybe because of the pollen, the allergies, my asthma. I really couldn't tell. But then when we got the news, I was like, oh crap, what if I have it now? And now I got to get tested. My kids were here that week. If I got it, they got it. And so fortunately, I got my test results back last week and I am negative, thankfully. But there's a lot of things happening out there. A lot of people are getting infected. A lot of people are, unfortunately, they're suffering, right? And there's lots of death. But what I thought about doing is reducing the price of the calendar. I can't give it away for free. I think I only have maybe one box left. But to kind of reduce the price of it, instead of doing the 50, just do 25. Hopefully that's a little bit more affordable. And if you do 25, again, we'll send you out and you'll still get mentioned in the special thank you part of the credits. So let's keep going. We talked about what's in progress, right? Scene 16, scene 14, I'm going to finish. We've got Danny working on some new characters. He's going to be working on the Dinobots, finishing up the remaining ones, right? And then he's going to move on to the next characters, which I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. So that's that. So we also covered the project direction. I already finished that, so there's no need to touch on that. That's basically it, guys. The animation clips are going to stop because I think at this juncture, if I put out more clips, it's just going to give away too much, and I don't really want to do that. So I know I've been promising you guys also the character profiles, but to animate that stuff, it just takes away from the project. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to just talk about the character, the profile, give you some tidbits. No new animation on it other than what we've blocked out from our animatics, and I think that should satisfy and fill in the gap for those animation clips that we've been doing. So that's about it, guys. If you guys have any questions, any concerns, anything that you want to talk about, please send me an email, shoot me an email. Please don't keep asking me about when it's going to be released. If I knew that, I would have said it already, right? So I know I get at least 5 of those questions a week. So it'll happen when it happens. Like I said, hopefully we'll start to smooth out scene 1. You'll have scene 1 soon, really soon. And hopefully that'll satisfy the hunger, right? Also, people, if you are an artist who would like to join in and help us out, again, if you're an animator, if you know Blender, or if you know how to animate, we'll teach you Blender, right? But if you know how to animate, you can definitely help out. If 3D modeling is your thing, let us know. We can use you for the sequel. If character design is your thing, you can come on board, help Danny. Danny is taking over as lead character design. You know, those types of things. You would have to show that you can do the work, right? We're trying to obviously get some type of get talent on the project, but also you get credit for it, right? Everybody gets credit, as you can see on the website. You see who's been working on what, right? And you can join on in. Just shoot me an email, right? You can visit the website www.primeanimations.com, and you can check out what we've done so far. That's it for now. Until next time, guys, stay safe. Please, please, please stay healthy. Take whatever precautions you guys need to during this time. I wish you guys all the best, and please keep in touch with me, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.